Most men over 40 don't realize they're losing testosterone because the first symptom isn't physical, it's personal. You stop feeling like yourself. Not overnight, not dramatically, slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. One day you notice you're more tired than usual, a little less patient, a little less driven, a little less interested in things that once excited you. You assume it's stress, work, responsibility, getting older. But here's the question most men never ask. What if you're not simply aging? What if you're slowly becoming a man you no longer recognize? Because that's the part nobody talks about. The real danger of low testosterone isn't that you lose muscle. It's that you can lose pieces of your identity. The confidence, the ambition, the fire, the version of yourself that used to walk into a room with energy, the version of yourself that used to look forward to the future. And perhaps the most dangerous part? It happens so gradually that many men mistake it for normal life. A 54-year-old executive once told me something I'll never forget. He said, "I wasn't depressed. I wasn't sick. I wasn't broke. But I felt like somebody had turned the color down on my life." Think about that. His marriage was stable. His career was successful. His children were doing well. From the outside, everything looked fine. But internally, something was missing. And he couldn't explain why. If you're over 40, there's a chance you felt something similar. You wake up, handle your responsibilities, pay the bills, show up for your family, keep moving. Yet somewhere in the background, there's a quiet voice asking, when did I stop feeling alive? And that question matters. Because many men spend years trying to fix their marriage, fix their career, fix their finances, fix their mindset, while completely ignoring the biological engine that powers all of it. Today we're talking about the signs of low testosterone most men over 40 ignore. Some of these signs have nothing to do with the gym. Some have nothing to do with sex. And one of them is so common that millions of men experience it without ever realizing what's happening. If you're a man determined to become stronger, sharper, and more respected in the second half of life, subscribe to the channel. Because modern society talks endlessly about what men should do, but almost nobody talks about what men are quietly carrying. Let's begin.
Most men imagine testosterone decline as a physical problem. Less muscle, more belly fat, lower libido. And yes, those things matter. But for many men, the first changes happen in the mind. Researchers have repeatedly found connections between testosterone and motivation, mood, energy, confidence, competitiveness, and overall well-being. In other words, the hormone doesn't just affect your body, it affects how you experience life itself. And that's where things become dangerous. Because if your energy slowly drops by 2% every year, you don't notice. If your ambition slowly fades, you don't notice. If your confidence quietly erodes, you don't notice. Until one day you look around and realize you're surviving, not living. Many men after 40 stop chasing, stop building, stop dreaming. Not because they chose to, because they slowly adapted to feeling less alive. And that adaptation can become excited about the future. This is the sign almost nobody talks about, because it doesn't show up on blood work. It shows up in your outlook on life. Think back 10 years. There was probably something you were chasing. A goal, a business, a promotion, a fitness challenge, a dream. Now compare that man to the man you see today. Are you still moving towards something? Or are you simply maintaining what you've already built? A 49-year-old father once described it perfectly. He said, "I still go to work. I still take care of my family. I still do everything I'm supposed to do. But I haven't looked forward to anything in years." That's not laziness. That's not weakness. That's a warning sign. Because one of the hidden effects of low testosterone is reduced motivation, reduced initiative, reduced drive. The psychological hunger that makes a man move forward begins to fade. And the tragedy is that many men blame themselves. They call themselves lazy, undisciplined, unmotivated, when in reality, their biology may be working against them. Here's a difficult truth. A man can have money and still feel empty. A man can have a family and still feel lost. A man can have success and still feel disconnected from himself. The question is,
When was the last time you genuinely felt excited about your future? Not responsible, not obligated, not hopeful, excited. If that question makes you uncomfortable, keep listening, because the next sign is one of the most ignored of all. Sign number 2, you're always tired, but rest doesn't help. There's a difference between being tired and being drained. Most men know the difference. 10 years ago, you could sleep 6 hours and still conquer the day. Now, you sleep 8, maybe 9.
And you're still exhausted. Coffee helps for an hour, then you're tired again. The weekend arrives, you rest. Monday comes, nothing changes. A lot of men assume this is simply aging, but here's the reality. Healthy aging and chronic fatigue are not the same thing. Low testosterone can affect energy production, recovery, sleep quality, and overall vitality, which means life begins feeling heavier than it should. The meeting feels heavier. The workout feels heavier. The conversation feels heavier. Even things you enjoy start requiring effort. And when everything feels heavy, confidence begins to suffer. Because confidence isn't just a mindset. Confidence is energy. It's difficult to feel powerful when you're constantly exhausted. And that's where many men start losing something even more important, their edge. Sign number 3, you avoid competition. This one surprises people because most men don't connect competitiveness with testosterone, but they should. Think about the younger version of yourself. You wanted to win, improve, compete, build, prove something. Now, you might find yourself avoiding challenges altogether. You stop applying for opportunities. You stop speaking up. You stop taking risks. You stop pushing yourself. Not because you've become wiser, because you've become comfortable. And sometimes comfort is just disguised surrender. One of the hardest experiences for men over 40 isn't physical decline. It's watching younger men walk into rooms with the energy they used to have and wondering where theirs went. That's a painful feeling. Because deep down, every man wants to feel capable, useful, relevant. And when that feeling fades, something inside begins shrinking. This is the part nobody warns you about. The opposite of masculinity isn't weakness, it's passivity. And low testosterone often pushes men toward passivity without them realizing it. Sign number 4, you've become more irritable and less resilient. People think low testosterone makes men softer. Often it does the opposite. It makes them shorter-tempered, more frustrated, more reactive. Things that never bothered you suddenly bother you. Traffic, noise, minor criticism, small inconveniences. Why? Because resilience requires energy. Patience requires energy. Emotional control requires energy. And when your internal resources are depleted, your tolerance shrinks. You become the man who snaps instead of responds. And then comes the guilt, because you know that's not who you are. But here's the deeper issue. Many men think anger is their problem. Often, anger is just the symptom. The real problem is exhaustion. Sign number 5, you've stopped leading your own life. This may be the most important sign of all. You stop initiating, stop planning, stop creating, stop leading. Life begins happening to you instead of through you. You go where circumstances push you. You react instead of act. And eventually, you wake up wondering, how did I get here? The truth is simple. A healthy man isn't defined by aggression. He's defined by direction. Direction requires energy. Energy requires health. And health requires attention. Which brings us to the most important question. What do you do if you recognize yourself in these signs? First, don't panic. Many men assume decline is permanent. It isn't. The body is remarkably responsive when given the right conditions. Get blood work. Know your numbers. Stop guessing. Start lifting weights. Not because you're trying to look younger, because strength sends powerful signals to the body. Prioritize sleep. Protect it like an investment, because it is. Reduce excess alcohol. Manage chronic stress. Spend less time chasing dopamine from screens. Spend more time building real competence. Most importantly, find a mission. A man without purpose becomes vulnerable to every weakness. A man with purpose becomes resilient. Purpose doesn't eliminate fatigue, but it gives fatigue meaning. And meaning changes everything. Here's what I want you to remember. Low testosterone isn't just about hormones. It's about vitality, presence, drive, confidence, identity. The reason so many men ignore the signs is because they assume feeling worse is simply part of getting older. It isn't. Growing older is inevitable. Becoming less alive is not. You are not meant to spend the second half of your life merely enduring it. You are not meant to become invisible. You are not meant to quietly fade into the background. The goal isn't to become the man you were at 25. The goal is to become the strongest version of the man you can be at 45, 55, 65, and beyond. Because a man's best years don't end when his hair turns gray. They end when he stops believing he still has years worth fighting for. And if this video resonated with you, tell me in the comments, which sign hit closest to home? Because chances are you're not the only man carrying it. And remember this, a strong man isn't the man who never declines. A strong man is the man who notices the decline and decides to rise anyway.